Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Jashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jashodanandana Brajajana Ranjano Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivardhari Jasudanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Sri Radha Madhava ki Sri Radha Giridhari ki jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Bari Braj Gajaja Shudra Shri Srimad is divine grace Abhai Charana Ravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Puri Vraj Gajaja Shudra Shri Srimad is divine grace Srila Bhakti Saranta Saraswati Gosa Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Samveda Bhakti ki jai, Go Premanandi, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this morning we're continuing Canto 7, Chapter 9. Prahlad pacifies the Lord with prayers. Text 47. Rupe ime sadasati tava veda srishte bijanukurav iva na chanyad arupakasya yukta samaksham ubayatra vichakshante tvam yogena vanim eva dharushu nanyatah syat. This is Brahma Samhita melody, right? Brahma Samhita melody. Rupe ime sarasati tava veda srishte bijan kura vivana chanyat arupakasya yukta samaksham ubayatra vichakshante tvam yogena vanimiva dharashu nanyata syat. Rupe ime sarasati tava veda srishte bijan kura vivana chanyad arupakasya yukta samaksham upayatra vichakshante tvam yogena vanibhadharusho nanyata syat. Rupe ime sarasati tava veda shrishte bijanukura vivana chanyat arupakasya yukta samaksham upayatra vichakshante tvam yogena vanimiva dharusho nanyata syat. Anyone like to chant?
Rupe ime sadasati tava veda srishti. Bijam kura vivanachanya darupa kasya. Yukta samaksham ubayatra vichakshante tvam. Yoge navahni nivadarushana yatasyat. Rupe ime sadasati tava veda srishti. Bijam kura vivanachanya darupa kasya. Yukta samaksham ubayatra vichakshante tvam. Yogena vahni nivadarushana yatasya. Rupe ime sadasati tava veda srishti. Bijam kura vivanachanya darupa kasya. Yukta samaksham ubayatra vichakshante tvam. Yogena vahni nivadarushana yatasya.
Anyone else?
Rupe ime sadasati tava veda srishti. Bijam kura vivanachanya darupa kasya. Yukta samaksham ubayatra vichakshante tvam. Yogena vahni nivadarushana yatasya.
Okay, word for word. Rupe in the forms. Ime, these two. Sat asati, the cause and the effect. Tava, your. Veda srishte, explained in the Vedas. Bija ankurau, the seed and the sprout. So if you go up to sprouts, you're going up to ankuraus. Change the name. Just ask them. Today you go up there and ask them to change their name. Sprouts is now ankurus. Eva, like. Na, never. Cha, also. Anyat, any other. Arupakasya, of you who possess no material form. Yuktaha, those engaged in your devotional service. Samaksham, before the very eyes. Ubayatra, in both ways, spiritually and materially. Vichakshante, can actually see. Tvam, you, yogena, simply by the method of devotional service. Vahnim, fire. Eva, like. Darushu, in wood. Na, not. Anyataha, from any other means. Syat, it is possible. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. By authorized Vedic knowledge, one can see that the forms of cause and effect in the cosmic manifestation belong to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For the cosmic manifestation is His energy. Both cause and effect are nothing but energies of the Lord. Therefore, O my Lord, just as a wise man, by considering cause and effect, can see how fire pervades wood, those engaged in devotional service understand how you are both the cause and effect. Purport. As described in previous verses, many so-called students of spiritual understanding follow the 10 different methods known as Mona Brata Shutta Tapo Dhyana Swadharma Vyakya Raho Japa Samadaya. These may be very attractive, but by following such methods, one cannot actually understand the real cause and effect of the original cause of everything, Janmadaya Sataha. The original source of everything is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself, Sarva Karana Karanam. This original source of everything is Krishna, the Supreme Ruler, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vingraha. He has an eternal spiritual form. Indeed, He is the root of everything, Bijamam Sarvabhutanam. Whatever manifestations exist, their cause is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This cannot be understood by so-called silence or by any other hodgepodge method. Does someone want to look up the source of the word hodgepodge on your devices? Okay, the supreme cause can be understood only by devotional service, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktyamam Abhijananti. Elsewhere in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th Canto, 14th chapter, text 21, the Supreme Godhead personally says, Bhaktaham ekaya graya. One can understand the original cause of all causes, the Supreme Person, only by devotional service, not by show bottle exhibitionism. Om Gyantivandrasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshuran Minitam Taismai Sri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Maro Bhistam Stapitam Dina Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadandikam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivarinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Banchikapataru Bhashtya Sindhu Beva Chapatitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So, by your good wishes and heartfelt and ardent prayers, I will try to say one or two things to help us in our devotional service today. You try to squeeze something like that out of me by your prayers. Okay. Hodgepodge. Anyone find it? Confused? A confused mixture. Hodgepodge. Okay. Great. Okay. So, Prabhupada begins the purport by saying, as described in previous verses, these 10 different methods, and that's actually the previous verse. Prahlad Maharaj is explaining that there are 10 prescribed methods on the path of liberation: to remain silent, not to speak to anyone, to observe vows, to amass all kinds of Vedic knowledge, to undergo austerities, to study the Vedas and other Vedic literatures, to execute the duties of an ashram, to explain the Shastras, to stay in a solitary place, to chant mantras silently, and to be absorbed in trance. So, I mean, you see lists like this in different places. They're recommended. They're recommended. So why the criticism? One thing, it's saying that in and of themselves, one cannot understand the supreme cause of all causes. So they must be stepping stones on the path of devotional service. And unless they're connected to Krishna consciousness or Bhakti, devotional service, one is still trapped in the material consciousness. Dravida Prabhu or Balaram, there's a verse. The English is something like this: that if I execute all these things, don't have devotional service, what's the use? And so what actually, how's that go? Because it's right. This is a key verse here.
Aradito yadihadistapasatatakkim, naradito yadihadistapasatatakkim. Antarbihi yadihadistapasatatakkim, nantarbihi yadihadistapasatatakkim. Which means that if you're already worshiping Hari, what's the use of severe austerities? And if you're not worshiping Hari, and you're performing all these austere austerities, what are the use of austerities?
Right.
If you're seeing Hari inside and out, what do you have to perform austerities for? And if with all of your austerities you're not seeing Hari in and out, then what's the use of him?
Yes. So that's the point Prabhupada's making here in the beginning of the purport, that if these aren't connected somehow or other to becoming Krishna conscious, to the goal, the supreme goal, then what's the value? These are all they're good advice, and of course it depends on a person's level of consciousness. Just like if someone was told to remain silent, when you tell someone to be quiet, what does that usually mean? Yeah, they just can you be quiet, please? Like that. I didn't do that. He did that. Okay, Hare Krishna. So that Mona Brata, it could be seen in that way. They don't know what to say, so better don't say anything, right? Prabhupada I comment sometimes, this is very good, because when they open their mouths, they simply all speak nonsense. In fact, he quoted, I don't know if it's Chanaka Pandit, there's some saying that a fool becomes exposed when they start speaking. Things, oh, this guy looks very intelligent. As soon as they open their mouth, it's like, oh my God, what are they saying? So I was listening to a podcast the other day, and devotees are bringing up, there's an article about some big research that's just come out, whether animals have feelings or not. Now, this is something a 3-year-old kid can understand, that their dog or cat, or they all have feelings. I mean, it's just common sense. Animals have feelings. But this big, lengthy article about they're not so sure, and they don't know the stepping stones of consciousness and feelings, and maybe they do, maybe they don't. No one really knows. And these are all big scientists, so-called a breakthrough study on whether or not animals have feelings. I guess so, or something, but it's just like, how bewildered are they? That's something that an ordinary child can understand. You play with your puppy, the puppy has feelings, they have feelings. There's so many different examples and just went on and on and on. But how could they even? How could the person? It was an Indian person who wrote the article. Actually, that was they're making points on that too. It's like, haven't you ever read the Bhagavad Gita? How about your culture going back eons? Animals is a soul in every single living entity, and they have consciousness and awareness and feelings, and you don't even know that. And then the scientists, and just like, who's paying these people to say this stuff? It's like, and there are thousands of dollars studying whether animals have feelings. So how do I go off on that one? All about being silent. If you got nothing good to say, better you don't say anything. It's a good thing. There are people who really shouldn't be talking. So Monavrata for you. You just be quiet. You don't say anything. So there's being silent, not speaking to anyone. It was at Meher Baba. Yeah, he took a vow. It was good because he had nothing really good to say. He was an impersonalist and a bogey yogi, and he was actually hiding out from the British. He was a terrorist, and he hid out in a cave in, what was it called, Pondicherry? It was a French. So I don't know. Obviously not part of France now, but that was a French colony, and they gave him asylum. He was actually being hunted by the British, and then he became a yogi. Something we have like from punk to monk. He was from terrorist to monk. But everyone thought he was so he wouldn't talk to anyone. So think, he must be very, very self-realized, like that. But better he didn't speak because he had nothing good to say. So these things are there. They're good according to different peoples and their level of consciousness and so on, and what they can appreciate. And just like Varnashram, do your duty. It says right there in the Bhagavatam that until a person comes to the high level of Krishna consciousness, they should do their duty, their mundane duties. Yes, be a good brahmachari, be a good grihastha, a good vanaprastha, sannyas, be a good brahmin, be a good kshatriya, be a good vaishya. These are all very, very good because they lead to a peaceful situation in society, in your life also. Do your duty. It's very, very good advice. And you need to do that until you actually come to a very high level of spiritual consciousness. So all of these things are helpful, or can be helpful in many different levels, but unless they're connected to Krishna consciousness, they'll never lead one to understanding what the cause of all causes is. And I was just thinking, people say, well, what's the problem? Why do I need to be interested in the cause of all causes? Why? Why? What's the big thing? Well, I think here's an example. Okay, here's an example. The cause of it. After class, all of you go upstairs, and in your locker, there's a blank envelope, and in that envelope is a check for $1 million to you. Is anyone here going to ask where it came from? Raise your hand. Come on, someone put $1 million in your locker and you're not going to ask, hey, where'd it come from? You're like, about time. It's about time they gave me something here. I've been working my hands to the bones, about time someone gave me something, and just pocket it. Aren't you going to say, come on, who put this here? This is $1 million. Would you try to find out what the cause of why me, and who? Would you ask? Would you? Because I think you lifted your hand about halfway. You weren't sure. I mean, make sure it's good. He's from a nice Jewish family. Make sure it's real. So the point is, we all show up in this material world, and everything's here. Everything's here. And it's all going on. Amazing. And let alone the whole spiritual sky. What is the cause of all of this? Where did I come from? Who am I? Who made all these arrangements? Not only this lifetime, millions of, what's it all about? And to not ask, just like to not ask who left that envelope of $1 million. Okay, it's in cash. Okay, let's make it a little nicer. Okay, and it's in $100 bills, and they all look real. Okay, like that. There's even a pen included. You can go like this. They do at the store. They put the pen through it so you can see if it's real. They check counterfeit money. Okay. If you don't ask, it's like, who are you? What kind of a person are you? Not even interested. Who put that money there? So where do you multiply that unlimited? That's the level of consciousness that people aren't interested in what the cause of all causes is. So it's just a sign of culture and intelligence, and you could say sensitivity, and all those good qualities that when someone finds himself in a situation where someone else has provided everything for them, who is it? Who it is? Who did it? Who's responsible for all this? So who's responsible for all this? And sometimes it's said that it's a natural inclination of a human being to ask why. So if people aren't asking why, what does that mean? They're not really human beings. They haven't come up to what the Vedas would say is a human level of existence. They have a human body, but they're not actually human beings, because there's actually 400,000 different species of human-like beings in the universe. So someone who doesn't, even ask where it all came from or who's responsible for all of this, they're not in the game yet. They're not in the game yet. They're like animals. They're like animals. And some people, you call them that or bring that up, they say, that's fine with me. That's fine with me. I am an animal. Human beings are animals like that. And we should, we act just like, you say, oh, eating, sleeping, mating, defending. Yeah, that's all we do. We're just another addition to the animal species. You go to the zoo and all those animals are on that side of the fence, but there's a lot of animals on this side of the fence. And they're both looking at each other. You go to the zoo, you're looking at them, but they're looking at you like, ooh, watch out for those people. They look pretty dangerous. They're destroying the whole planet. They should be in the cage. They're the ones destroying all the environment, polluting everything. The water, you can't swim in the water. All the fish are choking to death, the air, birds, land, right? They're the ones who should be locked up, and we should be the ones walking around. That's really what they're thinking. It's like, wait a second, something's wrong with this. But they're both looking at each other. They're all animals. There's two-legged animals on this side of the wall, and there's four-legged animals on that side, but they're all animals. There's no higher consciousness at all. So there is really no difference. But the human beings say there should be a difference. And that difference begins with your inquiry into, what is that? Sati, cause and effect of everything in Sanskrit here. Sat asati. What is the cause? And it says here, that's Krishna. And then Prabhupada's quoting many different verses here, because this has the reference to the first verse in the Bhagavatam, this Janmadi Yashataha. He's referring that Krishna is the source, because we don't have time to read that verse, but the very first verse in the Bhagavatam talks a lot about how Krishna is the cause of everything. The cause of everything. Everything's coming from material and spiritual. And then the Sarvakara Karanam, this is the Brahma Samhita, the Ishvara Paramakrishna, Satchidananda Anadiradi Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. That's Govinda, that's Krishna. He is the cause of all causes. You can't find, sometimes people say, well, Krishna created all of us, but who created Krishna? Where did he come from? But he didn't come from anywhere, because he's Sarvakarana Karanam. It stops there. Just like the sunlight. Is it nice sunlight there? Appreciating that? La luz del sol. Very nice, huh? So you go back to the sun, you say, well, where's the sun getting its light from? Where's the sun getting its light from? On the material level. It doesn't. It's the source. It's not there's like something behind the sun. No, the sun is emanating all the sunlight. Right, Sankachan? Okay, good. Just wanted to get an agreement on that one. Do you want to hold this sign for a while? Okay. Sun Karshan. Okay, very good. This guy's that's why he's so close to me. He's like my copywriter. Okay. Slip me a note from time to time what to say. So Krishna is the Sarakara Karanam. There is no behind Krishna. And that's what the Mayavadis say. No. ultimately there's the Brahman, and then Krishna comes from that. And no. Brahmano patishtaham. Krishna says, I'm the source of the Brahman. I'm the source of everything. That's the point being made here. He is the source of everything. He's the cause of all causes. But the only way, and Prabhupada is concluding the whole purport, the whole point is the only way to understand that, bhaktyamam abhijananti, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, that's only by devotional service will you actually understand the cause of all causes. And it's saying in that first verse in the Bhagavatam that even the demigods, muyati, they're bewildered also. They don't know where they came, exactly where they came from. They're just here and, it's the material nature. The reason it's called the curtain of Maya. There's a reason, just like there's a reason when you close those curtains. Why do we close the curtains? So you can't see the deities, because they're taking rest or they're honoring their bhog or something like that. So you don't want to see Krishna? Well, there's a curtain. Krishna says, okay, I'll just close the curtain for some time. And that's the curtain of Maya. So you can't see beyond that. You can't see Krishna. And if you want that curtain open, that's bhakti or devotional service. All these other things, the curtain's closed. And until we come to the platform of bhakti or devotional service, the curtain's closed. You may be the biggest Mahayogi who's ever walked out of the Himalayas, right? You may be so many austerities or learning. I was just thinking of this yesterday. It was a Digbijay. Came to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nimai, Keshava Kashmiri. Okay, now they were talking, and Nimai Pandit said to him, "You're famous as a poet and so on. Can you compose glorification of the Ganga?" And it says, just like a storm, practically, right on the spot, he composed 100 not perfectly, it seemed to be perfectly composed, beautifully ornamented shlokas glorifying Mother Ganga, okay? Just by asking. Now, how powerful was his learning and ability, okay? Mukunda, since you've got a good sense of, compose one verse about the Ganga right now in English. Just say it. Yeah, it's got a rhyme. Roses are red, violets are blue. I like the Ganges, and so do you. Something like that, right? It's not easy, right? And he just, like a windstorm, composed everything. But in Sarabha, just but they weren't Krishna conscious, and the plug was pulled. And he goes, wait a second, this verse, that verse. I'll point out just one, And then he was crestfallen? He left so depressed that he lost. I mean, they wouldn't even have a debate, but he was made a fool of in front of a young boy. Young boy made a fool of him. And that night, Saraswati came to him and said, "You are a fool. That's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You go and surrender to him." And he went and surrendered to him, became a great devotee. So all of that learning, so powerful. He's going around debating with the most the best scholars in India and getting them to sign off, but all of that learning, what's the point? Because it's not connected with Krishna. It's not connected with Krishna. And the previous verse said professionals, in the purport too. These are professional people. I'm very, very learned. I'm very good at this. I'm very good at that. And I was at the end of the verse. It says here, because such persons are falsely proud, these procedures may not be successful. You see that. There's varieties of yoga and austerity and this and that. One becomes very, very proud. It's very, very accomplished, very, very proud. And that immediately disqualifies one for the process of devotional service. Trinada pi sunichina torori vasuhish amani damani dena kirtaniya sadahari. It immediately disqualifies someone. So I want to just read this one last thing, we'll stop. The reference at the end Prabhupada makes is to these verses in the 11th canto. And there's actually two, the one before this, 11, 14, 20, and 21. So let me just read here. It says, "My dear Uddhava, the unalloyed devotional service rendered to me by my devotees brings me under their control. I cannot be thus controlled by those engaged in mystic yoga Sankhya philosophy, pious work, Vedic study, austerity, or renunciation. And then the one Prabhupada's quoting in the purport, only by practicing unalloyed devotional service with full faith in me can one obtain me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I am naturally dear to my devotees who take me as their only goal of their loving service. By engaging in such pure devotional service, even the dog eaters can purify themselves from the contamination of their low birth. Does anyone know any dog eaters? I knew you were going to raise your hand. Okay, they're out there. They're out there. But you know what's lower than a dog eater? Cow eater. Do anyone know any cow eaters? Raise your hand. No, boy. So that's the lowest of the low, most sinful. But by the process of pure devotional service, even such persons could be purified from the contamination of their low birth. So this is the point Prahlad Maharaj is making here, is that only by devotional service can one understand the cause of all causes, or Krishna. So we can end here because of the time, 8:32. Are there any comments or questions on this, any of these points? Yes, Prabhu, would you like a microphone? These are new tops, aren't they? Yeah, blue. He was working on it the other day when I was here for puja. So, yes.
I have some comment, and I want to listen what you think about it. No, you mentioned about that if we get some $1 million and
is that enough for you?
We not ask about it, and you said that this everything around us also we didn't ask about who is the source. But the interesting point that in this world, when something bad happened, also people so less intelligent that even in these situations they didn't ask. They try to find how to say
solution.
No, not solution.
Reason,
yeah, in some nearby, but
okay, yeah,
not,
it's your fault. It's your fault.
Yeah. And what my question is, it is so less intelligent, and that even when something bad happened, they not possible to ask about why. This point, what interesting, what you think about it?
No, as we pointed out, the beginning of questioning our situation in this world is a sign of elevated consciousness. You know, how's it so? How? Why am I here? Where did I come from? Where am I going? Why am I suffering? What is it? Sanatana Goswami said, Kayami. Who am I? Tapatroy, the threefold miseries. You know, people call me, he began by saying, people call me very learned. They call me a pandit, but I'm not very learned at all, because I don't know why I'm suffering in this material world. I don't know who I am or why am I suffering and how to get out. So how learned am I? How intelligent am I? You know, just like money. I said, you know how do you know an intelligent person? Yeah, in his pocket, he has some money. In other words, you know, materially, if you're intelligent, you should have some money. You know, otherwise, what's the point? So, yes, and that's a sign of an advanced culture, that they're teaching the citizens or members of that society to question reality and try to understand. That's a progressive, and you can even call it spiritual if it brings to that point. And if you don't, then what's really the difference between us and the animals? The ability to inquire about life and reality and to be that sensitive. It says in the mode of ignorance, the work in the mode of ignorance is you think, my work is everything. No, we're just enjoying my senses, and you know, that's ignorance and passion cover one's inquisitiveness into reality. That's why we have to bring ourselves out of ignorance and bring the population out of ignorance and passion. As long as one is kept, that's why Prabhupada was on the Jaladuta. He's saying, I don't know how these people are going to understand the teachings of my Lordship, Krishna, because there's so much in ignorance and passion. Because when you're in those modes, it's just not there. Navadihate, it doesn't become manifest. Bogaishvaya prasaktanam, it just doesn't become manifest. It's just, you can't squeeze it out of the people. It's not going to happen. We got to bring them out of ignorance and passion by the process of chanting and prasadam and devotee association. And then naturally they start thinking, like, wow. I mean, if you try to think back the first time you encountered devotees or something, or even before that, when you actually started thinking about what's life all about? Who am I? Where did I come from? And, those different questions, and all your friends started thinking you're really weird, right? Because you start asking those kind of questions. It's like, you're really strange. Don't you want to just go to the party or have a good time or something? Why are you bothering yourself with these questions about who am I? Where did I come from? Why am I suffering? Something wrong with you? I said, someone was just telling this story. I think it was Kastuba. He saw some film clip. It was in black and white because it happened back in the 70s. This young boy, he had taken some hallucinogenics. He wasn't steadily taking it, but he went to a party. So and when he came home, he said he had the realization that he was seeing God everywhere. And he told his mom. And his mom said, no, you don't see God until you die. And he kept pushing and pushing it, and she had him committed. Yeah, it's a story. Back in the 70s. He's saying, no, God is everywhere. He had some kind of revelation from taking whatever he took. And it continued with him. Yeah, God is everywhere. I see God everywhere, It's just that feeling. And she was so upset by that, she had him committed. So that's a long answer to your question, isn't it? I'm sorry. Anything else, or should we end here? Anyone online?
I have some comment when you said about Srila Prabhupada, that he said, I see only two gunas, passion and ignorance. I remember I had experience maybe 10 years ago. I was Pujari, and one moment, maybe 2 months, I did not, how to say, I was in
the temple the whole
in the
time.
temple, and our temple was on the, how to say, village.
Okay.
And how to say, aside.
Okay.
And so
secluded.
I even did not come to village 2 months, only puja and little walking nearby temple. And we went to village, something needed to. And I had the realization that I see when few steps in the village, I see this is only ignorance and passion. And maybe 3-5 seconds and everything, and I see, it's normal. So condition so fast, it's terrible.
That's good realization, though. Yeah, you can see it like that. Yes. Okay. Do you have one take home from the class that you remember? Okay. Microphone.
I guess it would be like understanding Krishna's like form and stuff. Is it like a devotional service will actually like associate with devotees properly, like inquiring from them and like actually respecting them, or like, offering obeisance, and then they transfer knowledge to you. And then by that you could perform devotional service, and then you get an understanding of Krishna's nature. Is that how that works?
That's exactly how it works. Adao Shraddha, and all the different steps of devotional service. And in the association of devotees, you have your bhajana kriya, process of devotional service. And by the mercy and kindness of the Vaishnavas upon you, Krishna will reveal himself. As Krishna reveals himself, he follows the kindness and mercy of the Vaishnavas to you. So that's exactly what happens. That's our process of devotional service.
So would you say, like, when that one text is like the 6-fold of like exchanges between devotees, accepting and receiving, the best like gift is kind of giving knowledge out of all of them, because all the other ones could be kind of material. Like I'm giving you this gift, now I'm this gift, but I'm giving you knowledge and you're receiving knowledge.
It's exactly what Prabhupada says in the purport to that verse. The best charity is giving people Krishna consciousness. And he says, like in our movement, we invite people and give them prasadam and you know, the transcendental knowledge and so on. So yes, that's the dati, but the ginati, the best charity you can give. So actually, let's change that from $1 million. You go upstairs in a little box, you open up, and there's pure devotional service in there. Now you're going to ask who gave you that box? It's like, where'd I get this box? Pure devotional service. Exactly how that's our philosophy, understanding.
This thought keeps coming up. These are so wonderful prayers. It comes like a high point in the whole Bhagavatam. We're almost at the end, and so much of learning, you have to get the knowledge from the spiritual master. You have to have that association, teaching you who to pray to, and how to pray, and what to ask for. If you think about it, well, the Hare Krishna mantra is a prayer, and in so much of the Bhagavad Gita, well, who is this Krishna? You learn something. This Krishna. Oh, okay, he's the source of everything. He's like that, and he's not just an order supplier. He's a person. So he's teaching about who is that, and then how to approach in prayer. And I see that so many throughout the Bhagavatam, so many series of prayers, and what to pray for. We're supposed to pray for not really liberation, but pray for devotion. Pray for the opportunity to serve, and that everything opens up from that. But until you have that association, you're bewildered by the material energy. You're not the prayerfulness is inquiry into how you can improve your material thing, and you understand that all the value is out there, and that I have to become qualified in order to get it. But it's all on the material plane. Until you have the association of someone who isn't on the material plane, and who can show you that there's a whole other world out there. So that's one thing that comes out. It's the power of prayer, because I once did this seminar with Ramapad Maharaj in Chicago. Every year I'd go around Christmas time. He invited me to come. And one time, I think he gave the topic, or maybe I suggested the topic, and let's do prayer. And I studied some prayers in the Bhagavatam, and I came up with this formula, like what is the 3 elements of prayer. And a perfect example is Kunti's prayers. It begins with Namaste. Is it bowing down? It's very important. Sometimes several verses of that. Then there's glorification, and then there's a request. You think about prayer. The Tulsi song is a prayer, right? And glorify whoever takes shelter of you has his wishes fulfilled. Of course, there's not much room there. So right in the first verse, and this is what I want: Radha Krishna Seva Bhava.
Right.
But there's that request, but you also have glorification, and of course, Namo Namo. You start out with the basis. So really, the Hare Krishna mantra is meant to be a prayer, asking for service, and if you do it correctly, your whole life is a success. That's right.
Well, on that happy note, we can end class. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Lord Nrsimhadev ki jai, Prahlad Maharaj ki jai.